College Students and Professionals with Disabilities, Dr. David Nisson, Supported Life Institute.
My name is Dr. David Nisson. I've been interested in studying science since I was a little boy. I was really into science books up through high school. I went to the community college instead of going from the high school directly to UC Davis. That was a very helpful transition for me to go from the high school to the community college to the big university instead of going directly there, because that allowed me to adjust to the new environments more easily. I graduated from the UC Davis and then went to graduate school at UC Davis and got a PhD. That's very unusual for people who have a level of autism where they're dependent on personal assistance.
David's accommodations in college.
Both in community college and at UC Davis, I had extended time on examinations. I could not have done the paperwork for doing things like applying for fellowships and everything else besides the science without the help of my personal assistant.
The importance of having a personal assistant in David's PhD program.
When I was in grad school, I studied experimental physics in a laboratory. It's a unique set of risks you take when you go into experimental science as a disabled person. Because when you're going into college as a disabled person, the risk is that some aspect of your disability or some failure of accommodation could cause you to lose your degree. When you're going into experimental science with a disability, the risk is to your life. So anyone who goes to experimental science, you're willing to take the risk that some laboratory procedure could fail and you could become injured. My personal assistant was in the lab with me at all times when I was doing my experiments so that I could stay safe. I have a verbal processing issue that causes me to miss instructions when they're delivered to me verbally. The other people in my laboratory, my colleagues, they were able to have procedures demonstrated to them with one shot and then be able to stay safe and do them correctly, whereas in my case, I needed them to be demonstrated to me multiple times to really remember them so I wouldn't make a mistake. One thing my personal assistant did in the laboratory was to make sure that I was wearing all of the correct personal protective equipment for what I was going to be doing.
Important information about Social Security benefits for graduate students.
The supports that public agencies normally provide to disabled people can fail for disabled people in graduate school. The Supplemental Security Income System designed a program called the Student Earned Income Exemption to allow students under age 22 to get undergraduate scholarships and still be on SSI. But that program does not protect students who are over age 22. They had fellowships that waived my tuition and scholarships that waived my tuition. But because those fellowships continued after I was age 22, the Social Security Administration considered them to be income. And so they put me on non-paid status for a while and then terminated my SSI. If you have a fellowship providing you $2,000 a month for your food and shelter, that's fine, you're still getting the supports you need. But if your SSI is terminated, that's a very bad thing because you need your SSI to be eligible for Medi-Cal and in-home support services.
College Students and Professionals with Disabilities was funded by a grant from the California State Council on Developmental Disabilities, Sacramento office.